What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XCN OnyxCoin today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Okay, here we are. Here we are, my friends, at about 1.155 cents. We did drop yesterday about 6%. Today is the 21st of March. We have 20 hours, 25 minutes left in the day, ever encroaching this lower low that we're looking for. The daily RSI to me does look bearish. It looks like it wants to complete the thought to the downside here. Whether we get a higher low or a lower low, I don't really know if it matters because some kind of low in this area likely would promote a low that's below this. Our targets are from a low to a high, anything and everything between about 2095 to 20844. I have a funny feeling we'll find support right there around the 1414, but maybe even go just below 009. I don't know if we go all the way down to 00844. And of course, it is possible we could go lower, though I don't really think that would make sense. If we were to go lower than this line, I would expect that it's a very short-lived fake out kind of wick that has no persistence to it at all. Either that or we're screwed and we're going to zero, and I'm going to have to get a day job. No, probably not. But still, that would not be fun. Looking at the weekly time frame, the longer that, or the further out that you zoom, the more bullish this thing looks, right? The weekly time frame in a very nice posturing here, higher lows. You've got a lower low relative to this here. You're at the 50 area, a nice area to bounce from. A lower low here from this low, lower low there, higher low there. That's what you call hidden bullish divergence. You're producing more bearish readings on your RSI, and you're getting less bearish results. I shouldn't even say that necessarily because this is definitely a bigger move down than this is here, but you're still at higher lows. That's kind of the essence of what I'm trying to say here. Okay, I want to look at this low real quick. Yeah, it is pretty close. Pretty close to these lows. If we put a line right at that low, what does that take us to? 0.0096. So that's pretty close to one of the target areas that we have listed as well. If we're looking at this from an overall low here to the high there, we are at the 382 and likely going to go a little bit just below it. I think it would be ideal, as we did last week, to go below the 382 and then come back up and close above it. If we do close below it, that does set us up, very technically speaking. It wouldn't line up with my expectations for XCN, but very technically that would set us up to go down to the golden ratio. And it wouldn't be too crazy at all to go down there. That is prior areas of resistance. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not talking about this because I think it's going to happen. I'm just saying, it could happen. It would still be a higher low overall. It would take a lot more to come back. We're talking about a 10x just to get back to our highs here, but I just don't see that happening personally. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But if we were to close below the 382 on a weekly basis, that would come into play, right? And I shouldn't say that 1 week closing below does that, right? It makes you think of it a little bit, but like multiple weeks, if we can't dip and then come back above it in a very short amount of time, that would be very scary. So that's something to pay attention to, right? Again, I'm not saying that that's what I expect to happen. I'm just saying it's something to be aware of, and by way of the fibs, that's kind of what they would call for if that happened. Likely it won't happen. So what we're looking for is a wick below the 1.12 cent area and something that will close back above it. Being that we're moving at a snail's pace every single day, seems that we are moving down, we're moving up, we're moving down, and that's not what I meant to do. We are still in this trend here, right? If we look at this, just validating the notion that I don't think that we go below that and then close below it, right? I think next week we will go below the 382, but I don't think it's this week. The reason being, we have continuously, why can't I do this right? Come on now. It's the end of the night for me, you guys. Bear with me here. We've continuously found resistance on this line. Resistance, resistance, resistance. We finally broke above it, and now we are slowly creeping and crawling our way down. Okay, we're at the base of this line. Likely today is going to be a green day, is my thoughts. Whoops. That's not what I meant to do. Hold on, y'all. All right, there we go. Getting that camera back online. Likely today is going to be a green day. I made the joke, I think yesterday or the day before, saying that this is actually kind of a very tight but tradable range for XCN. If you just buy at the line and then you hold until you're up at the resistance point here, you're probably doing all right. Like, it's a very tradable range. You shouldn't trade with your life savings. If you've got a lot of, and not hopefully not your life savings is in this, but if you have significant money in this, like I do, then hopefully you're not trading that whole amount. I don't know if trading that much is worth a 4% gain if you catch the high and if you catch the low. These are very small amounts that we're talking about here. But in all fairness, it's pretty obvious, and it's been working out pretty well. You compound those results, right? If you get like a a 4% gain there, and that's if you get the low to the high, so maybe more like a 2% gain. 5-6% gain there, maybe you get like a 3% gain. Low to high here, that was a 6.5. They're getting bigger. That's kind of nice. If you compounded all of that together, right, what would that be from a low to a high? From a low to a high there, that's like 16%. So that's not bad for just a couple of very obvious plays. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I'm not trading this at all. But again, running with the notion that we have 3 days left in the week, essentially. We're at the base of this line. I would assume that we spend the next day or two coming up and then the next day coming down. And then we'll be set up very well, I think, for the beginning of next week to dip below this 382. And then we'll have a whole week to recover, hopefully. Or maybe not a whole week, but at least more than just 3 days to recover. We'll at least be below there with that time to recover is what I would expect. And if we look at how OnyxCoin has found support, if you guys notice, when it finds support, it moves up fast. This is the 4-hour time frame we're talking about in less than a 24-hour period, moving up fast. Here at your low, you didn't move up as fast as last time, but you did move up fast overall, right? It didn't take you multiple days. I mean, maybe it took you multiple days to move up overall, but a day at the most to move up significantly from that low. Same thing here, moved up fast, moved up fast, moved up fast. Even on the way up, moving up fast, moving up fast. All these lows, you are moving up fast, right? So I would expect that when we do find this next low, it will not be long-lived. It'll be very short-lived, and we will come back up to these areas above the 382, just like we're looking for. And, oh, what just happened there? Let's make sure everything's good. What the heck, man? I'm sorry, guys. The camera, you just got to deal with that cat wagging its tail, I guess. I don't know. That's just a thing, apparently. But let's see here. Let me get this going. That's so weird. It's just so weird. It's not weird. It's just crappy internet service by T-Mobile. Don't use T-Mobile 5G. I'm like the anti-advertiser for them. They definitely wouldn't want me to talk about it like this because, god damn, bro, it's bad. It's bad. It's not good at all. They shouldn't advertise internet out here at all if their service is going to be this bad. And it is. It's terrible. I don't understand either. There's like a cell tower. I mean, obviously they're not using that cell tower because it's not too far away. But maybe I'm just talking about things I don't know about, right? I'm not a cell tower guy. I'm a chart monkey type. Let's get to climbing this tree here, or at least descending it. It looks like we are going a little bit down. If we are looking at this relative time frame here, the relative fib, right, from a low to a high here, we have gotten below the golden ratio, right? Found support in the golden ratio area, rejected the 0.5, and now we are finding support at the 786. It's very common in this kind of scenario that you come back up to the 618, you find resistance there, and hey, wouldn't that just come in line very well with that? It looks perfect, right? So we're probably going to move up to 1.2 cents. Don't get too excited, my friends, because after that, which probably takes this whole day and maybe into tomorrow even, but probably going into the end of today, we'll start to pull back. And then by the end of this week, we might be reaching for a low that's just below this, or even getting a little bit lower. Ideally, not closing below that 382, right? That's what we're looking for. So let me finish the video off with that, I suppose. The area that we don't want to close below for OnyxCoin is 11.2 cents. We can go below there. It's fine if we go below there, but we don't want to close below there on a weekly basis. If you close like a little bit below there, I suppose it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Things are flexible. And ideally, as long as we're not closing or really going too much below this, we can go below here, but just not closing below there. I think that would also be beneficial as well. Inevitably, OnyxCoin is going to go higher. I don't know how there are so many people who are bearish on this thing. I really don't understand it, but maybe they just have a vendetta against it. They've lost money or something, or they missed out and they want to buy it at a cheaper price, or maybe they just don't like me and my silly little face here. They don't like it, and they know that this is my biggest bag, so they want to see it go down. But it's often the coins, in my experience, that get the most hate that seem to do the best, right? It's the haters that get left in the dust normally, not the ones who are at least supporting a valid project. If it wasn't valid, if it was just some random coin, okay, I get it. But and I guess any coin is a random coin. Who am I to say? But this thing is definitely postured, poised to do some very phenomenal things. And I'm not the type, I won't do it whenever it happens. I mean, you guys see how I am. I hope you see how I am whenever I do make right calls. I don't care to address it, right? I'll address my wrong calls, but not even for that long. At least I try not to, unless I'm really convicted and it just catches me off guard. Then I'll make like a C-Zar is wrong apology video, you know. But But this kind of stuff, whenever it happens, I'm not going to be like, I told you so. I'm not going to be celebrating and chanting from the top of my lungs. People who say I told you so are lame as hell, man. They like really, they have a big ego, and they depend on something that has nothing to do with them going up to validate themselves for some reason, right? I don't need that. I just it's going to happen. We're going to get valid. We're going to get validated. It's going to happen, and whenever we're up there, we're going to do it like champions, right? Just we're not going to do a touchdown dance. We're just going to score in the end zone. If you're not American, this might not make as much sense to you. Imagine maybe football, maybe not just like football, American football, but like soccer for most people in the world. So I call it soccer. We're in America, we call it soccer, but football for the rest of the world. There, if you score a goal, right? Real champions, real winners, they act like it's no big deal. Why? Because it's just another day. It's another day in the office, you know. And it's fun to celebrate. It can be fun to celebrate. I'm not saying that we can't celebrate, but I don't plan on making an ass out of myself or out of the haters. I don't care, man. Because the only reason I talk about the haters at all down here is because it's kind of fun, right? It's kind of fun. They're out in full force down here, and I know that this is not going to be long lived. They're not going to be anywhere. They're not going to want to. They're not going to want to come around at these prices. So I'm getting it while it's good. And then I'm not even going to think about them. I don't think anybody's going to think about them when we're up here. We're going to be thinking about what our next purchase is in the real world or something like that, or maybe what our next investment is. And whenever I point up there, I really do mean that we're going to go above 20 cents, you guys. From a high to a low here, assuming that we go lower, these targets only get higher. I think that 19.5 cents to 35 cents is a very likely target area. And again, I just don't get how anybody can be bearish on this thing, man. From a pattern perspective, this bull flag, it's perfect. It's literally perfect. I can't think of a better example in this entire bull cycle that I've seen. This is a perfect bull flag. And the measure target is to 20 cents. Now, measure moves are not guaranteed. You don't have to stop there. You can stop short of it, which the next target just below this would be the 1618 at 13 cents. Maybe we stop at 13 cents. And boo-hoo, so sad. We only get an 11x. I know. It's not what we were looking for, but an 11x, you guys. Boo-hoo. If you bought the high, the absolute high at the worst time, you're only getting a 2.5x. Boo-hoo. Everybody's making money. It sucks, right? But if we do something greater, because it's the measure move, you can fall short of it or exceed it. You could stop right at it as well, but assuming you do exceed it, and I think you would, I really think 23 cents is a good kind of standard target to count on, maybe even above 30 cents. And I know it sounds crazy, but you guys, when you compare this chart to Bitcoin, it's kind of the only logical targets. And even if you bought the absolute high at that point, you're still getting a 4, almost a 5x at that rate, right? I want to end the video, but I guess I'm going to complete the thought. Let's complete the thought here, right? XCN, we'll do it one more time. XCN to BTC, hold on. Just to show you that I'm not crazy, or maybe this will only validate that I'm crazy. We'll see. This, by the way, you guys, I thought this was stupid. I saved this. I meant to talk about this on my last XCN video. Not because it pertains to XCN, but because I get a lot of viewers who watch XCN, right? I know that this is a pretty predominant XCN family up in here. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Do we worry too much about misinformation? That's like, I literally said this in another video today. I'm like, this is literally like saying, hey man, we know that we've been lying to you, public, the media has been lying to you, to your face, but stop worrying about it, please. Stop worrying about it, because it's getting harder to lie to you now. Yes, we probably don't worry too much about misinformation. And I think that's why the world is actually going in a bad direction, or maybe now it's going in a good direction, because people do worry too much about misinformation. Not too much. That's just such a dumb phrase. People don't worry enough about misinformation. You should always, I don't care if we live in a utopia, you should always, if you're a critically thinking mind, if you're an intelligent person, you should always be worried about misinformation. Always. There's no such thing as too much. There is such a thing as being paranoid, as thinking there's a conspiracy to everything. Don't be a crackpot. That's not what I'm saying. But man, this is the dumbest headline I've ever seen. The Guardian, I'm never reading your BS again. That's for damn sure. That's stupid. They're literally saying, hey, we want to lie to you. How can we dumb you down a little bit so that we can get you to worry about misinformation enough? Like that's the whole point of this article. I'm not even going to read it, but I bet that's the whole point. How can we make people think to not worry about misinformation? So stupid. I wanted to share that though with you guys because it reaches a larger audience. What was I going to do? All right, we're going to pull up the Google calculator. Right. We were going to end the video, but I have to prove the point here. So XCN to BTC. Again, I like to stay it like this just so it makes sense. We stopped right here, right at a prior area of support okay? Because obviously we wouldn't stop anywhere else, right? That it makes sense. It's not coincidental. This is just exactly how it works. Prior support becomes resistance, right? If we break out, and I think we will, because as perfect as the US dollar bull flag looks, this thing's bull flag looks even better, you guys. Even better, right? It's betterer. Whenever it goes up, you're likely going to see a move that takes you all the way up to this closing low price here, but don't take my word for it. Take the measure move. If we go from a low to a high here and we put it right at the base of this flag, which might go a little bit lower, right? We might see it go a little bit lower. You put it right there. It literally just a little bit lower, and we're right there. We're right at the base of this next area. Why would we stop there? Well, we stopped here. It was the only area that we consolidated throughout this whole range. I think it's no coincidence that the bull flag here lines up exactly in that area. Okay, we take this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros, 2, 2, 9. It's always a different number because it's off by a little bit, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. Oh, 2, 2, 9. Sorry, 2, 2, 9. And we multiply that by Bitcoin's current price. Now, I'll tell you what's not going to happen. What's not going to happen, and anything can happen, but I'm very positive this will not happen. XCN is not going to gain this much value versus Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's still at this price. Bitcoin, by the time XCN is up this much worth Bitcoin, right? This is the XCN BTC chart, not the XCN USD chart. By that time, Bitcoin will likely be well over $100,000, okay? But let's say it's at 84,500 like it is now, 84.5, right? What would that price XCN at? That'd be at 19 cents, okay? So that's pessimistic. That's a little bit pessimistic from the Bitcoin perspective and very not even optimistic, realistic with the XCN price, okay? Let's get realistic with the Bitcoin price. Let's be realistic with XCN to Bitcoin. Let's be realistic with XCN to USD and realistic with Bitcoin to USD. What would, if XCN is worth this amount versus Bitcoin right here, right? 0.50229, and Bitcoin was at a realistic price. I think, to me, 170K, Bitcoin's going to see that by the end of May, by the end of this next move. Maybe it's sometime in June. Who knows? Because we haven't started moving yet. It could be in June. You never know. That target will keep getting pushed back until we move up. But I think it'll take 6 to 8 weeks to move up overall. And that could definitely take us to the end of May, if not sometime early June, if we really wanted to. It could be longer than 8 weeks even, but I digress. I would assume Bitcoin goes to 170K. That to me is realistic. But to you, the average person out there, you might think I'm nuts. So let's be realistic in accordance to the average person. Not 170K, probably not 100K, right? Where are we going to be? Where are we going to be in 2 months from now, 3 months from now? High to low. I would assume if we do see new all-time highs, and if these prices only go lower, you notice how these extensions go higher, right? I don't know, my computer just froze. You see how it goes higher, comes down, goes lower, stuff like that. I would assume these targets are only higher. So let's go to the 1618. Let's go to the golden ratio. Even though every single time, and I don't want to measure every single one of them, but damn it, I'm going to, just to make a point here, just so you guys know that I'm not reaching or grasping at straws. I'm trying to be realistic, and even then, I'm still being a little bit pessimistic, man. From a high to a low here, you went all the way up above your 1618, hit the 1886 there, okay? From a high to a low of this consolidation phase, you went all the way up to your 2618 to find resistance, right? You stopped just above your 2272. From this high to this low here, throughout the whole bull cycle, right? This is the whole bull cycle. You went up to your 2618. We continue this. We do this high, if it'll let me, high there to the low here. You went all the way up where? You guessed it, right up to your 200 level, right at the 1886. So between your 1886 and your 200 is really where you go. So whenever I say that the 1618 is doable, I really should be saying the 1886. I was going to do 136K, but I said realistic. So now that we're all on the same page, I don't think 150K is too much to ask for. 150K, and likely, again, if we see lower targets like I think, this is only going to be higher. So this is actually a pessimistic, realistic approach. 150K, what would that bring us? You're not ready. I'm not even ready. I don't know what this number is going to be. I can't look. Tell me what it is. 34 cents, y'all. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. No, he wasn't. I'm telling you guys, I don't know how you can be bearish on this thing. It must take great effort, but I got nothing else for you, okay? Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. We're probably going to slow bleed down. Today is probably going to be a green day. We'll see you at 1.2 cents, and then we'll probably proceed lower from there. All right, bye-bye.